Well. Welcome back, everybody, to yet another cooking stream. I hope you, that's right, I'm talking about you at home, are having a beautiful, wonderful, lovely Wednesday. I see that we have some excellent friends in chat. Hello to Big Zach. I saw that we also have little Adrian. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for coming to the stream today. And then we also had Dosky, we had Robsol, we had Banner. We have a lot of people today. So, hello, welcome in. Taza, it is good to see you too, I suppose. Can have a little sip of water. I'm a little dehydrated. Hello, Catboy Central. Welcome on in. As well as Sauce. My friends, welcome to today's cooking stream. I'm pretty excited for you today. We will be making a lovely adobo, a lovely Filipino pork adobo, or pork belly adobo. We did an adobo, I think about a month ago at this point. We did it out of a chicken, and it was pretty delicious. And now this time, I want to do it with some pork belly because I had some pork belly in my freezer. I bought some more today for today's stream. And as you guys can see, we have a lot of pork belly to get rid of today. All right, that's a nice, considerable amount. I should also get some tongs and nudge that back on over. So we have all of this pork belly to cook. It's going to be great. It's going to be pretty wonderful stuff, my friends. All of it is going to get braised down. It's going to get really nice and sticky and delicious. And of course, adobo is cooked in a mixture of vinegar and soy sauce, because pork belly is even more delicious. It is indeed. And alongside it, we will be doing a couple things. We'll be doing a very basic chicken rice. So I'm gonna wash the rice. I'm gonna cook it in chicken broth and with a bay leaf, nothing too crazy. And then we'll also be making a dish that is completely new to me. I will not actually say its Filipino name because I will butcher the pronunciation of it. But what it is essentially is a squash or like a pumpkin that gets cooked down in coconut milk with a little bit of fish sauce, with some onion, with some garlic, and string beans. So it's gonna be really, really nice. It's gonna be nice vegetal. It's gonna be nice and sweet as well from the squash and the coconut milk. Yeah, I just think it'll be a nice side to have along the adobo, right? It'll still be like really rich and warm and delicious. Also, hello, Scatman. Hope you're having a lovely day today. So I'm quite excited about it. My one issue with making adobo last time, I was like, wow, this is good, but this is just like a lot of meat and salt, and I want a nice vegetable to go along with this. And so I'm gonna try this dish out. I don't cook with coconut milk too often. So this one's gonna be a little bit newer to me. And I also don't get a lot of excuses to cook with squash or like pumpkin either. Right, we have this big boy here. I think this is technically, ow, I just cut myself on the edge of a Tupperware. I think this is technically a big old kaboka squash. It doesn't look the best, but we'll peel it up and we'll make it look nice and pretty, and we'll chop it up into pieces. It's a big boy. It also feels nice to toss around like so. So we're gonna have to chop it up, peel it up. It's gonna be delicious. It's gonna be nice and soft and sweet and tender and everything. And I'm excited to get started with things. And the first thing that we have to do is prep everything that we need for the adobo. We'll be cooking it in this beautiful Dutch oven right here. This little guy, my friend, my pal. I'm excited. It's gonna be a delicious meal today. And you know what? In a way, it is kind of Thanksgiving-y, this meal, because it's like you have string beans and you have like squash going into like the same stew, right? Into this vegetable stew. And that's very like autumnal to me. That's very Thanksgiving-like. But my friends, let's get started. So the first step for the adobo, we need to prep a bunch of garlic. And we want like whole garlic pieces so that we can fish it out after. We could also alternatively mince it, but it's nice to have the big pieces that we can then fish out and then have like a really nice clean sauce. I'm gonna put on a couple of gloves to protect my poor eczema-ridden hands. Get that out of the way right now. I have a lot of garlic to prep. Because again, the flavor of garlic gets more intense the more you chop it up and process it. And because we're only going to be doing like slightly smashed whole garlic cloves, we're not going to get that much garlic flavor out of each clove. So we have to be a little bit more wasteful and compensate by using a lot more cloves in total. Okay? Let me go ahead and grab my bench scraper, which I've also lost again. I have no idea where this thing is. Is in the dishwasher? No. Where is my bench scraper? Uh-oh. Guys? What's going on? Where is my favorite tool? Where is my favorite kitchen device? Oh no, this isn't good. I should have been a little bit more ready before we started it. What could it be? Hello? Where's my pal? Where's my buddy? Where's my friend? Where's my favorite kitchen tool? It's not in the dishwasher. I'm going to check one more time just so I'm not crazy. Is it by the bench? No. Clever idea though. Good decision. Good suggestion, excuse me. Guys, I'm freaking out. What happened to my bench scraper? Oh, whoever displaced it, which was... No, I'm not gonna threaten my mom. No. I just have to find this thing, and I don't know what it is, and I'm a little frustrated. Am I insane? We haven't even begun, and it's already over, it looks like. We haven't even begun. No. Where could my little tool be? Where's my little guy? My pal, my friend. I love this thing to pieces, and yet I can't seem to find a single piece of it at the moment. It's not in the oven. It's definitely not in the oven. It's not up here. Okay. Time to use my hands instead. It seems like that is what's just going to have to happen. There is no other alternative at the moment. Oh, this is the worst. Guys, it's never been more over than it has been at this moment. Yeah, of course. Yeah, my favorite. Can't get enough of that. I'm so upset. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. But that's okay. Gamers, is there anything that we can do? Is there any way to cope? Yeah, this is not a good start. I'm sorry about the way that this is starting. I should have been a little bit more prepared, but you would think that the tool that I would use all the time would be in the place I put it all the time. But alas, I'm not so lucky today. All right, well, we're not using a bench scraper, we're just using the knife today to do this task where we take it and we crush it up. Just like this. To get all of the skins off our garlic, and we don't have to worry about trimming the butts because we'll be picking out the whole things, right? So we smash it to separate the skin from the flesh, from the clove. Ow. Oh, I missed my bench scraper. Oh, I hate doing this with my hands. This is fine. And then we go over a bowl, just like this, my friends. We can easily peel up every single clove of garlic just like this. Come on. That's one. I like smashing it with the bench scraper. Alas, I had to use my knife today. The tragedy of Daramgar. And we're gonna give all of them like one more additional press as well. Because again, the more you crush and the more you process garlic, the more pungent and the more aromatic it gets. But the reason we're keeping it whole is so that we can easily pull it out after. Okay? We're gonna need all of this garlic. I misplaced a whole ceramic baking pan a few years ago. I don't know how you did that, but that is quite the feat. I think somebody must have taken it from you. Somebody took it. You have to be suspicious of all your neighbors. All right. Actually, you know what? I think this is smashed enough. We don't need to smash this anymore. Do I plan on eating this? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I will. I won't be able to eat all of it, of course. But I will do my best to eat as much of it as I can. This is, guys, everything that I'm doing on the stream is food that I'm making for home. All of this is stuff that I eat sometimes. Oh, man. What if the bench scraper is in the fridge? It would never be. That would be hilarious, though. You know what? I'll check the fridge just to give you the benefit of doubt. Just to see. This is my favorite food. Well, there you go. But yeah, I eat everything that I make because everything that I'm teaching and showing you guys is home food. I want to show you guys stews and soups and the kinds of dishes that are, oh my God, look at my skins on a cutting board that a bench scraper would have easily been able to scrape up and fix. Surely the bench scraper is not in the fridge. Okay, it's not. I would have lost my marbles had that been the case. It's not here. Okay, so garlic cloves, again, keeping all of this nice and intact so we can easily pluck it out after. You might be like, oh, Daramgar, that's so much garlic. I promise you it's not. If we were to mince all of this, then it would be a lot of garlic because then it would get like super, super pungent and super intense. Do I invite friends over to eat my cooking? No, I cannot, but that is okay. Another time. Oh, I've yet to ever do like a proper Friendsgiving, aside from like once, I think. I was only able to do so once. I'd really like to do that again. Okay, all of this garlic, it's gonna go into the adobo, and in fact, we'll make a plate right now. So onto this little plate, I forgot I already took aside my other aromatic components. Here's the traditional stuff, my friends. Garlic, next, black pepper cloves, whole black peppercorns, okay? And then we'll also need a nice little mound of bay leaves. Let's make it nice and aromatic, and we'll also have some bay leaves featured in the rice itself. So nice little mound of bay leaves there, and all of this is gonna go towards the adobo and flavor it and get it really nice and delicious. Oh, I see, that sounds lovely, Big Sack. Okay, this is it, and then actually I'm going to do one unconventional addition. Now, Filipinos, look away. This is my thing that I really, really want in this. You know what I want more than anything? I want some heat in an adobo. I want some chilies. I want a little bit of spice. So I have some Adobo chilies right here. We're gonna do about like 4 of these things. You know what, maybe 3 is sufficient. 3 is gonna be sufficient. I want a little bit of heat in my adobo. I was eating it and I was like, is my camera okay? Guys? Why did my GoPro just explode? Not literally. I'm restarting that. I've never had that happen in the history of my GoPro before. Okay. I think we're back. It seems as though we're back. All right. That scared the shit out of me. So, we have right here some Adobo chilies, my friends. Were my cartoon the entire time? Yeah, I was. Sorry to break it to y'all. Everybody, we're fine. We're not going to think about it. That's never going to happen again. And if it does, ugh. So, here's what we do. We have some Adobo chilies. We're going to keep these as intact as possible so that we don't accidentally get a bite of them. We're going to open them up. We're going to take the tops off. And then we're going to get the seeds out. Okay? Seeds out just like this. Perfect. And again, this is not traditional to do at all. I've not seen a lot of variations that have dried chilies in them. I thought that the spice in this would be really, really nice and delicious. Okay? So this is a plate of aromatics. A bunch of garlic cloves. We have some bay leaves. We have some of the Adobo chilies and the black peppercorns. Last time I made this, I wanted the heat, and thus the Adobo chilies are present. Now, as for what we'll be cooking this in, the most traditional thing that we can do, we have a little bit of Filipino soy sauce and a little bit of Filipino vinegar, and we'll do about a 1-to-1 ratio. We'll do about a cup of each, okay, going into this. And so, last time, I don't think I added enough vinegar. And I was like, why is there a cup of vinegar going into this? This is ridiculous. And I made a slight modification. But in reality, the acidity and the salty balance of it is actually just impeccable. It is perfect. So that's why I'll be doing a little bit more vinegar this time around. I felt like it needed it. So you have to use these two for a pretty traditional adobo. And now I feel like we can get to prepping the pork. And we have a lot of pork belly, a copious amount, in fact. Okay? This is a lot. And I'm trying to think, am I gonna get the skin off? And I think I'm still gonna get the skin off because there's a little bit of hair on the skin and I don't want to burn it off with anything because that's like a little bit of effort. I need a bowl for the trash, which is gonna be right here because we're gonna take the skin off and we're gonna take the bones out since some of the pork belly has bones. And then we're gonna chop it up into pieces and we need a new plate to put the chopped up pieces on. And we might need to cook this in batches, depending on how this goes. So, this is a plate right here, where the finished chopped up pieces will go. And over here is where the skinning will begin. So all we're going to do, we're going to take a knife, my friends. We're going to go along the pork belly. We're going to get rid of that skin on top. Trying our best to not get rid of that fat if possible. And again, a little bit wasteful to do so, but I did not feel like getting the hair off the skin. So I'm just going to do away with the skin. And it's not like it's going to get crispy in an adobo anyways, right? And then we have all of this bone that we have to get rid of as well. Actually, quite a bit of bone on this one. Whoa, I see. Just go around every single bone, get rid of each piece. And I'm thinking maybe I will save one of these. I'm thinking of saving one of these for the vegetable stew that we're doing, right, with the coconut and stuff. I'm thinking that we should do that. And the reason is because traditionally you'd have like either some amount of pork in it or some amount of shrimp. So one of these I'll dedicate to the stew. One of these I'll dedicate to the vegetable stew, and I'll do really thin strips for it. We want something that's going to cook fairly quickly, and that'll get really nice and tender. Okay? That's why we're doing such thin strips. It'll be able to cook through in time, and it's going to impart a good amount of flavor into everything else. Oh, this is so nice. I love this cradling knife, dude. Save the bones for stock. That's actually a pretty good point. Should I do that? I don't think I'm going to get enough of pork bones that I'll have a convenient amount for stock. And it's not like, unfortunately you're right, and I'm making excuses. So, it's actually a pretty good idea. I am going to yield a handful of bones out of this. So fine. You know what? I'm gonna listen to you. How about that? How's that sound? You're right. And I'll make a pork stock another time. I'll just freeze that meat. So, nice and thin, all the way sliced through. And all of this is going to be dedicated to the vegetable stew. And the rest of the pork is going to go into the adobo itself. Look at that. Beautiful. God, this is such a nice knife. Oh my God. Okay. I'm just going to separate it all. Next one going on now. But the skin we won't save. The skin is currently covered in hair. And it's kind of difficult to get rid of the hair on pork that's already like been sliced so thinly, right? So we just have to get rid of the skin. I know it hurts to do so. I love crispy pork skin like anybody else does, but it should have been first removed of all of its hair and then should have been sliced that thinly. Okay, and now this is going to be pork that's going into the adobo, right? So all I'm going to do again, I'm going to take out the bones. I'm gonna have a nice pile of bones, as you suggested. I should have done that last time, but that's okay, I didn't listen. Now I listen. Now for the adobo itself, we want some nice, generous pieces. This one is a little bit thin, but we can still get pieces about this big for the adobo, I think. That'll be nice. Perfect. Something along these lines. That looks good. Next one, I don't think those other pieces have too many bones. So those just have to be de-skinned. Okay. That's one bone out. Now let's get rid of this one. All of this has to go. And I'm okay with leaving a little bit of meat on because again, this is all gonna go towards stock. So I'm not like gonna get like too anal about this. And then we slice the skin off. Boop. Oh, this knife is so nice, Jesus. Okay. And off it goes. Once again, nice big pieces for the adobo. It's going to braise down, it's gonna get really nice and tender. It's gonna get beautiful. Just like so. And we're gonna brown these off, we're gonna sear them, we're gonna get a lot of really good color on them. Okay, next one. Now, as for this pork, this doesn't have any bones in it. And you know what? The width is similar enough to the other that I don't feel the need to cut it in half again. All we're going to do again, we're just going to cut off the skin off this thing. Okay? Off all of it goes. Oh, and this skin is really, really tough compared to the other ones here. Probably because it was sliced so thick to begin with. And I'm okay with losing some of this fat because we don't want the adobo to be too greasy or anything, okay? So, pork laid out. These are the two separate widths of strips. Let's cut this up into chunks. Excellent. Now we have some big, beautiful chunks of pork belly right here. Stacking this plate up nice and high. And now, last one. In fact, I'm going to transfer all of the meat for the adobo onto this plate instead, and this is where the other trimmings will go. You guys following? Good. Going through all of this. Come on, buddy. You got this. I should lay this out flat, and that'll make my life easier. Okay? Almost done here. Perfect. Now we'll cut this up into chunks, and I'm going to wash off my knife and dry it off ASAP so we can use it again as we need it. Ah, come back here. Okay, excellent. That is what I want to see. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this because we have no more use for this cutting board and we have no more use for this knife for the time being. And now, my friends, take a look. This is a big pile of pork for the adobo. We're going to seal it off and it's going to braise down and get really nice and tender. And this is all of the pork that we are going to need. I'm going to go ahead and bag that up right now. We're going to make a stock out of that later on. And this is going to be for the vegetable stew itself. So as for the bones that are going in the freezer, grab my tongs. And the beauty of adobo, by the way, is that that is all the prep work that we needed to do. That was literally all of it. It's just done. Grab a little freezer bag, plop in. Ooh, let me see if I can get a bigger open. We'll get all of that meat, all those bones, and use them another day. Thank you for the suggestion. It might be nice to make like a smoked ham broth or something that might be really, really pleasant. Okay. Now, I think that's actually all the prep work that we needed to do for the adobo itself. We have the aromatics already done, we have the pork chopped up, and now it all just needs to cook and it needs to get going. So, we need to go on over to the stove. Alright, the first step, we gotta get a bit of color on the adobo itself. We need to brown the pork. We need to try to render out as much of that fat as possible and get something really nice out of it. And while that's going, I think I'll wash the knife and multitask. Is everybody keeping up? Yeah? Okay. So, in the pot, and we're going to do a cold pot. And we're going to do a cold pot with no oil. And the reason for this is because we're going to get a lot of extra fat out of the pork belly. When you're cooking, you have to be really mindful about animal fats and other sources of fat that are naturally present in the things that you're making. In this case, in the event of the pork belly, there is a lot of fat in it. It is pork belly, it is bacon, okay? We do not need to add any additional oil. It is completely unnecessary. We don't have to give it a jump start. It is something that sincerely bothers me. All we need to do, we can start it off on a cold Dutch oven and slowly get the fat out of it, and then the pork is going to cook in its own fat. There is no need for the addition of extra oils in this case. And oftentimes, I love adding naturally occurring sources of animal fats, like a piece of bacon, like a piece of pork, so that everything else can cook in that because it's tastier and it's a lot more efficient use of what you have. And avocado oil is just going to dilute this, and it's going to make this unnecessarily greasy, right? So, we have naturally occurring pork fat. We're not going to start this on a hot pan with oil. All we're gonna do, we're gonna do a cold Dutch oven. We're gonna lay out the pork, and we do a cold pan so that we give it some time to release its fat, so we give it some time to release everything that's in it, okay? You want to lay it out nice and flat. You want to make sure that everything has nice, even contact with the bottom. And I like the surface area that the Dutch oven gives me. That's what's really, really nice about this. And we're gonna do a medium heat here, medium low at most. It's a Dutch oven, it takes a while to heat up. You don't wanna crank up the heat, you'll damage the enamel coating. Okay, it's okay if it's packed tight. The meat is going to shrink up. We just wanna release the fat and we want it to cook in its own fat. And that is the beauty of a dish like this. Okay, all of it seems to be tucked away. Everything is tucked in there. And again, all the meat's gonna shrink up. Don't worry about overcrowding at the stage. That's been done. We got it out of the way. And now we turn this. Oh, let's get those last pieces of meat in there. Boop. We're gonna turn this onto a medium heat. And so, here's something you need to understand. Oh, Daramgar, why aren't we starting this on a high heat? Well, think about it this way. Let's say we preheated this pan. This is an enamel Dutch oven. If we were to preheat an enamel Dutch oven in advance, that would require us to put oil in it. You don't want to have anything enameled heat up without oil or without water. You're going to get hot spots and it's going to damage the enamel coating over time. But then, if we were to turn it up onto a high, and let's say we could do that without adding any more additional oil or anything, when we add the pork, it's going to start browning and burning before the fat renders out. So we like to do it nice and slow, and it's going to give it time. It's going to first release its juices, and then it releases fat. Okay? If we do a high heat first, we're going to develop too much color, and then it's going to start boiling away. Trust me, just trust the process. Let it release its liquid, let it release its fat, and slowly but surely, we will get to the product that we desire out of this adobo. Okay? And while that's going, I'm gonna give my knife a quick little wash because we're going to use it for everything else. I'm quite excited for today. It's gonna be really delicious. Get my glove on. And again, you don't want your heat to be crazy. You don't want to, scorch the hell out of your enamel devices, especially something like this. A Dutch oven can last a lifetime if you take care of it. The number one thing I see with people, they have like cracked or like black spotted Dutch ovens on the bottom. That's what happens when you're heating it without oil. Do I have to cover the meat during that process? And the answer is, actually, it's not a bad idea. I'm going to tell you why. We're looking to cook the meat at this stage as quickly as possible for it to buckle, release its liquid, and then for its fat to render out. And honestly, covering it with a lid might be ideal, in the same way that we collapse onions by first steaming it with water, and then that cooks it, and then it releases its liquid. I like the way you're thinking, but it does look nice exposed. So do I have to? No. Will it expedite this process? Yes. Does it look nice uncovered? I think it does. And that's why I'm making the intentional omission of covering it. If you're at home, you can probably cover this and it'll just do the thing faster. But you don't want to cook it all the way covered because the goal is going to be to evaporate any moisture that the pork lets out. Where did I get those black gloves? Amazon. Black nitrile gloves, a big old pack of them. Okay. I'm gonna give my knife a quick little wash, my friends. Just get that done in the meantime. And you can already hear it sizzling, and again, it's always going to release its liquid before it releases the fat. And you're going to try to evaporate that liquid. Giving my knife a little scrub skis, and we have to dry it off. This is a carbon steel knife. Over time, it's going to naturally develop a patina, but we don't want it to rust, and so we don't leave it wet. Okay. And we could prep things while it's searing, but thanks for picking up a pair now. Well, there we go. I'm happy that I could help. I do love having these around. Especially because I'm cooking and I have eczema hands. How do I keep my hair away from the food? Oh, you've asked me a beautiful question. Chloe, I don't. I just don't. I'm cooking for myself at home. If I'm cooking in like a restaurant setting, I'll tie my hair up. I have an opinion that gets a lot of people upset. And you know what it is? If there is a hair in my food, I pick it out and it's fine. Nobody, especially on like a hot thing of food, like I'm not trying to get my hair in the food, but if it happens, it happens. Especially if I'm at home. If I'm in a restaurant setting, I don't care. Shit happens. Unless it's like filled and covered with it, that's like a completely different story. So I actually don't think it's as big of a deal. It's also not necessarily like dangerous per se, especially if it's in like a, hot bowl of something, then it's almost immediately disinfected. So I actually don't really care that much, is my answer. For a lot of people, it's like a sensory thing and they can't like bear it even like the thought, right? The thought of that is like horrifying to them. And I respect that, but for me, I don't give a shit. So I'm drying off my knife really good, especially at the hilt, right? Because this is a carbon steel knife. You don't want it to rust. You probably have a stainless steel one at home unless you especially bought a carbon steel one. Yeah, right, like I never understood that shit. Like, oh, waiter, oh, I found a hair in my food. I now demand a free meal. Oh, the hygiene. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a big deal. I don't care. I really don't care. If there was saliva, that's a different story. But somebody has to intentionally do that to you. Oh shit, I just dropped my tongs on the floor. Oh no. That I'm going to throw in the dishwasher. What have I done? Okay. Good evening to you as well. I'm just cleaning up my station while I have a second. And the pork smells lovely. It is cooking away. It's getting some nice color on it. Hope you're having a beautiful one today. Blue Streak Sonic. Maybe the bench scraper is on the floor. Yeah, I have no idea where this thing is. I would have loved it, but I don't know where it is. And I'm annoyed. I am annoyed. Okay. And now that this has gone on for a little bit, we can give this a little stir. And it is sticking to the bottom because, again, we started with cold protein on a pan, but you can see it's starting to release its liquid. So let it unstick naturally. Don't force it. Okay, it's going to unstick naturally. Just let it do its thing, my friends. Let it be. You need to understand, it's not in the dishwasher. I already tried. The only danger you face is having that long hair around lit gas burners. That's happened once. That was unpleasant. I had to chop off a good chunk of my hair. That has happened. Okay, so my friends, we've got to talk about this really quickly. Why is stuff sticking to your pan? There's a million reasons why this can happen. Number one, you don't have high enough heat and you don't have enough oil in the pan to lubricate it. The reason things stick to your pan is because proteins especially love to form chemical bonds to things once they denature, and they stick to it. But guess what? They will naturally unstick over time as well. At this point, the pork is a little bit stuck, even on a glass enameled surface like this Le Creuset right here. I promise you, leave it alone, and it's going to naturally detach itself from it. You don't have to scrape it, you don't have to go at it, you don't have to get your metal tools out. I promise you, it's going to do its own thing. People get very impatient with fish skin. Fish skin, even on a well-oiled pan, will always stick a little bit. Just let it cook, let it naturally curl back up, and then you can flip it. You don't have to scrape it or anything. If you're cooking a steak on a you have to make sure you have like a really nice hot pan. It won't stick to it. But even then, on a really hot pan, it will stick for even just a moment. If you're doing a stir fry, the number one mistake that I made as well, when I was doing a stir fry, I blanched my meat, right? And then I threw it in, and it stuck. You know why? Because I tried to stir it within 45 seconds of putting it down. Let it form the bond to the pan, and then let it come back up. Don't stir things immediately as soon as you put them in. You can only do that with, like, say, vegetables, right? Things that aren't necessarily too proteiny. You try to do that with something like eggs, and then you're going to get a bunch of stuck egg on the bottom of your pan. Let it cook for a second. Let it cook, let it do its thing. And now we can give it another poke. We can see, oh, Mr. Pork, are you sticking? And the reality is, yeah, it still is. Give it some time. Give it some love. It'll be okay. And all of, like, that fond, right? All those little burnt bits on the bottom of the pan, they're going to get dissolved into the adobo. They're going to give us a beautiful flavor, okay? Let it do its thing. We're going to deglaze all of it too. We're going to pour in a bunch of water. We're going to pour in the soy sauce and the vinegar, and it's going to scrape up all the lovely stuff that we have at the bottom. And I guess now we can preemptively start building the sauce that we'll be doing, right? So let's go to the overhead camera. I'm gonna put some gloves on because one of my hands is a little unsightly at the moment. Have a sip of water as well while we're at it. Here's what we're gonna do, my friends. And again, I'm not salting this pork either. The reason we're not salting this is because we're gonna have a cup of soy sauce going into this. I don't know if you know this, that's a lot of soy sauce. Okay? It's a considerable amount. I wonder if I have a better vessel than this, but that's okay. We're gonna have an entire cup of soy sauce. That's really, really salty. You can then always just adjust it and season it as you need it later on. But at the moment, we will be okay. So, I'm gonna do my measuring cup because I would actually like to be a little bit precise about the ratio and then adjust it later on as needed. We're doing an entire cup of cane vinegar. Seems like a lot, but I promise you, it'll be perfect. Cup of this bad boy going in now. Lovely. And again, this is Filipino cane vinegar. This is the brand right here. Fairly traditional to use this stuff, okay? And you can hear that pork is frying now. It's frying in its own fat. We didn't need to add any additional oil. And guess what? Oh, I was gonna say it is starting to unstick from the bottom of the pan. Some of it on the edges, not so much because it didn't heat all that evenly, but it's getting there. It is getting there. That's the only issue with putting things on like a cold Dutch oven is Dutch ovens and cast iron, they don't tend to heat too evenly. You need to heat it for a while to get to that point. Yes, I am. I also do use idiots, not Shihu, but yes, I'm referring to all of you. Sorry, I'm a little parasocial with it. So, an entire cup of Filipino soy sauce. In fact, you might want to do a little less than the vinegar. Okay? And then we're going to do about a cup of water. A little bit more than that. And that's going to stop the sauce from reducing down too quickly. Okay? And the water, yeah, again, we pour the sauce in, we want the meat to braise, and then we can reduce it down as needed to get the viscosity, to get the texture that we want. So cup and a little bit of extra of water. 1, and then a little bit more. We'll reduce as needed. Lovely. That's all been done. Now let's see if we can give the pork a little stir through. And again, this is how simple adobo is. And that's why I don't feel bad for adding the chilies. I think the chilies will be a very nice welcome accompaniment in something like this. All right. Yep. Now we can just give all of that a proper mix around. Don't worry about all of the bits on the bottom. It's all going to get deglazed really, really nicely. Okay? I didn't need to move it around before it got too dark. We flip it around, we move it around, and then we'll try to get some more color established on the other side. Also, thank you so much for the sub. Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. It smells excellent. It's frying pork. It's pork cooking in its own fat at that. Okay? Can't get better than that. You actually just can't. Yep, that one does not want to come off yet, and that's okay. That's fine. Fine by me. We distribute all of this, and we're going to let this get some more color on that side. And we want to make sure that the bottom doesn't get too dark. As soon as the bottom feels and looks a little too dark, then we're going to go ahead and just take it out. Because if we burn the bottom, all of that's going to get back into the adobo itself, and it's going to give the whole thing a burnt taste. We're not just searing the meat and then eating it as is, although that does look pretty delicious in its current form, I must say. It does look pretty wonderful. Okay. In fact, I might even switch the burners once we go on here because I want to show off the stew while we're making that. Yeah, this bad boy. What's going on with you, pal? What's happening? Are you okay? You okay down there, buddy? I might not have cleaned this thing properly last time. Okay. Get all those bits off the bottom. We have some really nice color developed on some of these pieces, and you can see that it's shrunken down now. And now everything is able to get good contact with that pan. And we did not need to add any additional fat. This is pork belly. It's filled with fat. It's filled with oil. Okay? Let it go. Let it do its thing. We're gonna get some color on it. We've already prepared the sauce. We have the aromatics right here as well. Once again, black peppercorns, chilies, and garlic. It's gonna be delicious. And then we can also soon start thinking about the stew. I just want to pace myself and make sure that I'm not rushing ahead. I want to make sure that we have enough stuff for us to do, so I'm not going to begin anything stew related till we get to it. Cross bridge when we come to it, I suppose. In the meantime, I'm going to give another look around for this bench scraper because I refuse to give up on it. I need it. I need it more than ever. And when he was needed most, he disappeared like an angel's kiss. Ah. That's my very dramatic retelling of what happened. I am very surprised. I don't know where this is. I'm checking the dishwasher again, just to be sure, but it's not in here. How could this happen? I really just don't understand. That is the Avatar intro. I didn't know what I was quoting, I just knew that I was quoting something. Oh, I think I should rewatch Avatar at some point. I watched it with a friend of mine for the first time a couple years ago, and I do miss it. I do miss that show. It was a really nice show. Okay, let's get some more color developed and everything. Looking beautiful, looking gorgeous. And we'll try to render out as much of that fat as humanly possible at this stage before we get to the braising stage. Okay? I'm determined. I feel the determination soaring through my body. Oh, I found it. I did it. Chat, some pogs. I think some pogs are in order at the moment. Okay? We did it. We fucking won. We found it. My precious baby boy. It was just in the drawer that I hadn't checked because I didn't think it would be there. Yeah, Avatar is really, really cool. Pod, that's what I'm talking about. It was just in a, so I have like this thing with like 3 drawers and it was on the 4th one on the bottom. I didn't put it there, but that's okay. There it is. Everything is okay. Life is okay. Oh, it smells wonderful. Nothing quite like browning pork. I could probably brown the aromatics at the same time. I could do that. Get like a little bit of color on it, especially the garlic. It is an awful ending. Now, you guys said something about like hair in the food, but the worst enemy of all is hair on the microphone. That's the real enemy. All along. That's what I'm afraid of. Okay. This is a terrible ending, isn't it? It's a real tragedy. Oh, I have not submitted my deposit for my tattoo booking. I still have my appointment for Monday. I'm getting a tattoo on Monday. That's right. I didn't make any other plans, did I? No. Okay, it's still gonna happen. Although this is not a tattoo that I can publicly talk about or post about. Tragically, I know. Okay. Oh, this is almost done browning. Look at the color on that pork. Looks excellent. It looks delicious. What am I gonna get? You've asked me a great question. This is not one that I'm gonna answer publicly, actually. But that's okay. I'm just excited for it. Oh, it's gonna hurt. All right. Hello. Hope you're having a lovely day today, Asnold. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll see. No, Taza, I'm not. No, stop it. Shut up. Stop it. Do we get to watch you eat the pork after? Oh, you will. Don't worry. You will get to watch me. I woke up and I made it here. Congratulations, you made it on time. It's the sternum, I'm certain. I'm sorry, guys, you won't know anything. Okay, so you're seeing all of those brown bits at the bottom? That is all going to get developed even further and get thrown into the stew. We don't want it to develop further, rather. It's quite dark at the stage, right? And look how much color we got from the pork just cooking in its own natural fat. We didn't need to add any additional oil. It's perfect the way it is, okay? So, we can scrape up the bits on the bottom. Let's add in the aromatics first because I think it'd be quite fun to toast it. We'll get some color on the garlic especially, right? We'll fry that up. Oh, it smells wonderful. Guys, this is gonna be a really good adobo. Yeah, well, no, it's just going to get dissolved into the sauce, right? So we're about to add all of the vinegar. We're about to add all of the soy sauce and water. Oh, gamers, that smells incredible. That is so simple. It's just bay leaves and garlic and chilies and black peppercorns. Oh, Daramgar, you added chilies to the adobo. Oh, it's so traditional. I don't care. It's gonna be good. Soy sauce, vinegar, and water added in now. And now we have to scrape everything up. And this sauce is going to reduce. And that's why we didn't add any salt. There is an entire cup of soy sauce in here. We can always adjust the salt later if we feel like it. But at the moment, I think that's plenty. Okay, here's what's gonna happen, my friends. This is gonna get a lid on it, and then it's going to cook for about an hour, or until we just feel like it. We wanna get the pork nice and tender, okay? So the general idea with braising is this. I need you guys to understand the way meat buckles and the way meat cooks, okay? So, the way to think about meat is there is a cyclical relationship between tenderness and time. At its most raw stage, when the meat is completely uncooked, it's somewhere in the middle for tenderness, okay? It's more like, not chewy, but it just really, really gives in when it's raw. The more you cook it, the more tough it's going to be. Because what's happening is the meat is actively shrinking in real time. It's shrinking, it's tensing up. And then at some point, it collapses. Or rather, the collagen becomes gelatin. And I think that's around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. At 180 degrees Fahrenheit or so, it's going to just melt. It's going to come apart, and that's how you're able to get shredded meat. That's how you're able to get really delicious braises. And that's what we're pushing this to. The reason we don't cook steaks past 130 degrees is because we don't want it to be too tough and chewy. Because the more the meat cooks up until 180 degrees, the more tense it gets, and then it releases. Right? So that's the way to think about this. This isn't a steak, this is a braise. So we cook it like a braise. So we have to scrape up everything on the bottom. Everything, and I mean everything. We're going to bring this up to a boil, and then I'll switch which stove it's on. I'm gonna have it on this one instead, so that we can focus on the stew on the other one. So scrape up everything from the bottom. The music, I'm gonna restart in the meantime. You don't wanna have any stuck bits on the bottom or on the sides, because it's gonna burn that way. The water helps to dissolve everything. Okay, and then I'm also really quickly, why is the exposure? Why is the lighting like that? I'm sorry about the lighting again, guys. I do apologize for its behalf. I'm not happy with this webcam lately. This webcam has been acting up. We're gonna fix you. I'm gonna fix you, buddy. I'm looking at you. What is this? Like, what are we doing here? Good boy. That's what it should look like. But alas, it's acting up. Okay. Scrape up everything from the bottom, and you can see there's that nice layer of fat. We can remove as much of it as we please later on. We got some really good color on the meat itself. And this whole thing is going to reduce into a lovely, beautiful sauce. And we can put this lid half a jar, like so. And the reason we do this is because it's going to help heat up in time. How does the amount of time at certain temperatures affect meat? Ooh, you've asked a really, really good question. You've just basically asked me, what is the relationship between temperature and time? And there's a really good example of this, and it comes to food safety and bacteria, especially in regards to what is considered cooking chicken food. They say, oh, chicken has to hit an internal temperature of 165. Well, that's not necessarily true. It would be just as safe if you got it up to 150 degrees and you held it at that temperature for a given amount of time. So, in regards to proteins and tension and texture, I am not an expert. If we're talking about tenderness, I know sous videing is actually very interesting in this regard, because you could hold something, let's say, at 130 degrees, and it's not the same as if you cooked the steak really quickly to 130, but if you did it slowly and held it for 12 hours at 130, it has some really, really cool effects. So I'm not the best one to ask about this. I've definitely read stuff about it. But that is a very interesting question that you've asked me. But the answer is, it does make a difference. The amount of time that you hold it at a certain temperature will be different. It will have different effects. If you held it for 10 minutes at 150 versus 3 hours at 150, it's going to create two different products texture-wise. And I can't exactly explain to you why, and it's going to be different on different cuts of meat, but all I can tell you right now is that it does have a tangible effect. It does have a tangible effect. So I know that's a bit of a non-answer, but what I'm saying is you're asking the right questions and you're looking into the right place. I am just not qualified enough to talk about that. Although I would like to be. That would be nice. Okay, my friends. Guess what? I can hear the adobo bubbling away. And guess what? It is indeed bubbling away. We're going to give that one last scrape through. And then all I'm going to do, drop a lid on this. We're going to get the other one on the heat. We're going to get this guy off. Up it goes. Ooh, those handles are hot. I should not have touched that with my bare hands. That was a bit of a mistake, I think. And that's going onto the other burner because this one is where we'll be conducting the stew. So I'm going to preemptively get this guy out of the way onto this. I'm going to get my spoon and my spoon rest out of the way. How's this doing? Okay, it's at a nice gentle simmer. All we're going to do, we're going to slightly turn down that heat. We're going to make sure it's not bubbling too aggressively. And this now needs to cook for an hour, I think, because we cut the meat nice and thin. The bigger you cut the meat, the longer it's going to take. You do want to resist the urge to boil it though. You don't want to boil it. And the reason you don't want to boil it is because you're going to get that outside really kind of overcooked and grainy instead of slowly bringing the whole thing up to temperature. Braising is a gentle, gentle process. It's not about boiling, okay? So nice gentle simmer, and you want to have the lid slightly open so that you're evaporating some of the water. You don't want the lid completely shut because then we won't actually develop a sauce, right? You only get that viscosity, you only get a sauce once it's reduced down into a nice syrup. But if you have the lid completely open, the meat isn't cooking evenly because you'll have some that is exposed to the top and it's gonna get rid of its water way too quickly. So, nice, low, and slow in this case, specifically to make sure that the meat cooks evenly and to avoid losing too much water too quickly. That's why we did all that. I know that's a little bit wordy, but all I mean to say is, if you're braising something, do a slightly ajar lid, okay? That's your general theory, and it works for a reason. It just regulates your liquid. One big mistake that you can do that people often make, especially if they do braises in the oven, which they often do, they put it in there and they have their lid completely open. And then you see that the sauce is totally charred on the bottom, it's burnt, they've gotten rid of all of that liquid and it's a mess. We're gonna open this every now and then, we're gonna give it a little stir, but we're mostly going to leave this undisturbed, okay? And we're gonna let this braise, and we're gonna let it do its thing. Okay, and now my friends, we must think about the other components that we have going into today's meal. We have two other things to make. We will be making a beautiful stewed squash and green beans with some of the pork. Oh, I'm quite excited for that. I think that'll be actually quite tasty. And we'll also be doing some chicken rice. So we're going to rinse out the rice, we're going to soak it in chicken broth, and cook it with a bay leaf as well. And keeping everything really close to the flavors of the adobo. Coconut milk yippee, that's right. So my friends, let us get started. Let's think about what I want to make first. Hello, hope you're having a beautiful day today. Welcome, welcome. Slightly adjust this bad boy, make sure this is nice and even on the camera. Okay, first step, we are going to need some garlic. We're going to need some garlic for the stew itself. In this case, we're not going to have whole garlic cloves. We are going to mince it with a garlic press because I think it's going to be nicer that way. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Let's get my garlic press out. And we'll need like 3 to 4 cloves. I want a nice garlicky meal today. I want to taste everything that we have going on, okay? The braise is going, the adobo is going. It smells wonderful at the moment. It really does. It smells very, very special. And I don't get to cook with coconut milk too often. This is my first time doing this dish, and that was kind of the purpose of today. I want to experiment more with doing Filipino food for myself. I don't have a lot of access to Filipino food nearby, and it's not something I ever grew up eating. And so I would like to just learn more about it and cook some of these things and really gain an appreciation and understanding for it. And what I've already begun to understand is there's not actually a lot of spices. I feel like black pepper, cloves, and peppercorn, excuse me, and garlic and bay leaves are already like pretty essential. I've seen them all over the place, but it seems to be a lot more acidity and sauce based rather than explicitly spice based. That's already what I'm kind of figuring from it. But I've also not cooked that many Filipino dishes. I've only done the 2. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. Black pepper is a good friend. I agree. So, here's what we're gonna do. Take a bench scraper now, no longer the knife. Luckily, we have this thing at our disposal. Again, give that a nice proper smashing. Give that a nice proper smash. These are 3 big cloves. And this is going to get super, super concentrated in flavor. It's going to get really intense because we have a garlic press now. And a garlic press is going to basically get it as fine as we can. Remember, the more you process and the more you prep garlic, the more you crush it down and the more you chop it up, the more intense it's going to be. And so these 3 cloves are going to have a lot of flavor once they're minced down that finely. They're going to have a lot more pungency that way. The reason why roasted garlic, and you see people throwing like an entire head of roasted garlic into something, is because it was cooked before it was processed. It was cooked before it was minced, it was cooked before it was sliced or crushed, and none of those really pungent compounds were ever really created. And you don't really create them after it's done cooking, okay? So here's what we do. We take it, we're gonna cut the butts off this time because we're not gonna pick out the cloves. Take them. I can hear the pot boiling away and bubbling. I think it's a little too aggressive at the moment. So we're gonna do slightly smaller heat. Slightly smaller. Okay. And now, all we do, we take a trusty little garlic press. We crush it in. In you go. Good boy. Let's get this stuff out of the way so you guys don't have to see that. Take the next one, press it in, Come on, buddy, come on, who's a good boy? Get in there. Yeah, that's it. Lovely. And I should probably look up really quickly the kind of temperature I need to cook coconut milk at, because the only thing I'm kind of worried about for today is making sure my coconut milk doesn't split. You have to be quite careful with it, right? You don't want it to like split and then curdle. So I'm probably gonna look into that one more time. Ugh. Okay. Whoa, we got a lot of garlic out of this. These are some big boy cloves. Let's press that through one last time. I should probably get a new one that doesn't do that, but that's okay. Sweet. Now, scrape all of that off. Get it off there. Excellent. Get these pieces back in there. That's still all good garlic that we can use, that we can play with. Okay, excellent. Now I'm gonna get rid of this. And I gotta say, having latex gloves for this kind of a job does make prepping garlic so nice. I hate how sticky it is. It just sticks to my paws. Very unpleasant. You know what? I think I can actually just put that onto my plate here with the pork. This is what I'm gonna use. Also, hello, Lol Panda Man. Thank you so much. So I'm actually gonna get this over here because we're just going to add them in at different times. And you know what? It's nice to have one collective plate. Thank you so much for the sub. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. Okay, so let's get that aside. Next, we have to cut up the onions. So those are going to be the three aromatics: onions, pork, and garlic going into this, okay? Let's get rid of that. I'm wasting a lot of nitrile gloves, I know that, but my hands are really in bad shape. Normally, I'd really not like to be like this wasteful as I am with it all, but it's kind of necessary for me. Okay, so this was a red onion that I had left over, and I think this is a great way to use it up. And I'm trying to think, do I slice this onion or do we mince it? I'm leaning towards a slice at the moment. Why do we crush our garlic? Great question. So basically, I talked about this a lot. The more you cut something, the more you process it, the more you chop it. In regards to garlic, the more pungent it gets. When you crush it like that, that is about as pungent as you can physically get it. Also, chopping it on the cutting board is quite unpleasant because it rolls around everywhere, and it's really, really sticky. I'm thinking the coconut milk will split during the cooking. I think it will if we're not careful with the temperature. As long as we regulate the temperature, then everything should be okay. Okay? So the reason we crush it, again, that's how we get the most potency and the most pungency out of it. And we get to keep our board clean and our knife clean and devoid of any sticky garlic. I think it's a really, really optimal strategy, and it gets through it a lot faster. I think the whole process of people taking the knife and they roll it around on the cutting board, it's pretty bad for the knife and it's quite inefficient. It takes a lot of time, and you're dragging your knife all the way across your wooden board and you're dulling it in that process too. I think it's really, really inefficient. Okay. We're gonna cut the root off. I think we're just gonna slice this onion for today. I didn't cut the root off all the way. Whoa, what's wrong with me? Okay. Yes, it's about maximizing surface area, but it's about crushing cells. It's not about maximizing surface area, it's about crushing the cells to get the most potency and pungency out of it. Okay? The finer you go, the more potent it's gonna be because you're producing some allicin, which is responsible for the pungency in the garlic. That's what I used. I did use that. The thing that squishes it through the tiny holes, that is the garlic press. Okay, my friends, so we have a knife here. We're going to go nice, long slices. We don't chop, we slice. Nice, thin slices, because we want this to basically melt into the stew. We don't want massive pieces. And the order of operations is we're gonna saute the pork, then we're going to add the onions, and then we're gonna add the garlic, and then add in the coconut milk, and then the squash. The squash prep is going to be quite interesting. So, slicing it all the way through, my friends. Just like so. Seem to have gotten it. Okay? And now, this is why we have a bench scraper. Look at this. Take the onions, and they just get thrown onto the plate. How nice is that? And this is about half an onion. I don't think the amount of onion I use here really matters all that much. And I'm just going to cook down into the stew. It's going to give it some nice sweetness as well by the time it does cook down. It's going to be a nice little aromatic with all of this. Okay. Now look at my plate. I think I'm going to do the string beans next. What stew am I doing? This is a Filipino stew that I don't know how to pronounce very well. Basically, it's squash and green beans cooked in coconut milk is what it is. It's really, really good stuff. Stewie Griffin? Jesus Christ. You've just said a sentence, didn't you? That is something you've just said to me. Ooh, I think my adobo is too cold. Uh-oh. We can turn that heat back up. Slightly. Lovely. Okay, let's do the green beans. Indeed, and it's my first time doing this because again, I just want to be more comfortable and experiment with Filipino food. And this is my process of doing so. Okay, green beans. And also, I wanted a nice vegetable dish with the adobo. I have no idea. Ooh. Excuse me. I have no idea what that was a reference to just now. Not a clue. Okay, green beans. Here's what we do. We take a little bit at a time. Then we're going to line them up. And again, guys, these were washed, thoroughly washed, and I spun them in my salad spinner to dry them off. The worst thing that you can do is cut up wet vegetables on your cutting board. It is a thoroughly, thoroughly unpleasant experience. Okay? Cutting wet vegetables just makes a mess. They stick to your cutting blade, and then you can't even get like a proper saute on it, and introduces a lot of unneeded moisture. Gamers? Oh, so the vegetable stew itself is going to have a little bit of pork belly because I had some that I wanted to get rid of, and the adobo is a pork stew. So you can do it completely vegan, but traditionally it also has some shrimp in it, and I just didn't want to do shrimp. Okay, we're gonna get nice little rounds. I think like that will be fine. Come on, buddy. Something like that. Get them nice and even, all the way across, and then the last one. Sweet. That'll do just fine. And these are just gonna be nicely boiled. Okay. So guys, one of the most important kitchen tools that I talk about all the time, again, is the salad spinner. I'm able to wash these string beans thoroughly, and I'm able to spin them dry, and then they're just excellent to use and excellent to fry. Especially when it comes to leafy greens, collard greens, spinach, whatever, right? And you're like, ooh, I can't wait to saute these. And then they're just sopping wet. And you're sopping wet, and you add them into something, and it just boils in your pan. Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess. Invest. I'm telling you right now, if you're not investing in one of these, if you're not investing in a salad spinner, you're making a mistake. Salad spinner brand should sponsor me. Somebody that makes a really good salad spinner, let me know and give me money. I will stand by your product until the day I die. Okay. I love those. It's an essential, completely underrated kitchen device that not enough people do. Okay? I'm taking my sweet old time with these green beans. We're having fun with it all, okay? Bunch them up, and then we're just gonna slice them up into rounds. You don't have to do coins, you don't have to go too fine with it, but you want some nice pieces like so. Excellent. Get them all in here. You've been thinking of getting a salad spinner? This is your sign to do it. Makes me look like a cartoon character. Thank you. I'm glad. It actually is awful for like when I'm ever casting like esports stuff, because anytime like an esports photographer takes me in the middle of like a commentary block, my faces are always like ridiculous. I look fine on video, but then as like a picture, oh, terrible. The industrial one at work is helpful. I can imagine. Ooh, an industrial salad spinner. This bad boy, let me tell you, you can get those vegetables dried up. All right. Get ourselves a nice little bunch of string beans. We're going through all of it. Oh, and guys, look at this. Look how nice it is to get all of your prep done in advance. The garlic, the pork, the onions. We're getting the string beans done in advance. And this is a very important concept. It's called mise en place, right? It's a French word for something. I don't know what it actually translates to, but the idea is anything that you can prep in advance, you prep in advance before you begin cooking. And the beauty of this is that when it's time to cook, you're not juggling two acts of, oh shit, I have to chop this, I have to stir the pot, I have to chop this, I have to stir the pot. You have everything laid out in front of you so that when it's time to cook, it can just go. Now, is it a little bit less efficient with your time? Yes, but what it does is it creates an infinitely more enjoyable and an infinitely more managed cooking experience. Okay? If you were to juggle all those acts at the same time, you risk burning something, and then you're constantly rushing and you're constantly moving and you're having a bad time. It's so nice for a dish just to get everything done in advance, right? We're just chopping up the string beans. We're not cooking the pork at the same time. We're going to do all that later. Give yourself the time to cook and cook before you are hungry. Get this kind of stuff done in advance, and then you will have a beautiful time, my friends. Okay, that's how you make cooking at home fun. Isn't it just prep? Yes, but it is specifically making sure that you're doing your prep in advance and doing all of it. Okay? You're doing all of it so that when it's time to cook, you can just cook and enjoy that and give that all of your attention. So it is prep, but it refers to having everything laid out in front of you and ready to go. I am going to give the stew a little bit of a stir though, the adobo, as it's going. Make sure nothing is burning on the bottom, and we're scraping down the edges of the Dutch oven too, okay? Because there is like some reduced bits of sauce on it. Excellent. We're gonna keep cooking it down until it's tender, until it melts in your mouth, like a beautiful little braise it is. Okay. Yes, if you cook when you're hungry, you're just rushing and you're going, and it's a mess. It is a mess. If I'm cooking when I'm hungry, I'm doing, something like instant noodles, right? Then that's always a good choice. In this case, no, it's a big mistake. Give yourself a snack before you cook. When you're hungry, you should already either A, be done with cooking, or B, have leftovers ready to go. Or have things that you can make that are that quick. But something like this is not something that you can do quickly. Put in place, there you go. I didn't know what it actually translated to. I have to start cooking again? Yes. So, you know what? I have a question for you, Jack. Tell me right now, Jack. Why have you not been cooking? What's been stopping you? For most people, it's dishes, and that's actually one that I have the most difficult answer to, which is you just gotta do it and get in the habit of it. But we can talk about why doing dishes is difficult. So talk to me. What about cooking isn't your ideal thing? Or why haven't you been doing it more? Because you can't just, okay, here's the thing. If you haven't been doing something and you want to adjust your routine, one of the most harmful things that you can do is say, oh, I just have to get this done without actually having a plan of going about it. Ah, my sick mom, we have to cook a lot of special food for her right now. Okay. And are you finding like you're having like a little bit difficulty like with the time? I guess you would be cooking like twice as much if you wanted to cook something different for yourself. I see. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope she feels better soon. That is a little bit complicated. And I can't cook in the kitchen. I see. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Jack. I really am. That one, but more of a complicated answer to that. I don't think I'm too qualified. I don't think I'm too qualified to help out with. So I do apologize. And that sounds like a lot more personal. And I'm not sure if that's something you wanted to talk about in the moment. Right? Okay, I need to adjust this camera really quickly. Ah, I see. Unfortunate. Okay, giving that adobo a nice little stir all the way through. Beautiful. It looks great. Okay. And now, my friends, we have to do the squash. So the squash is going to be the most challenging bit here. First, I need to have a container that I'm going to put all of the chopped up squash into. It's going to be this one. I'm going to get these plates out of the way. Out of sight, out of mind. So this bad boy, quite a bit to tackle here, isn't it? Looks a little intimidating. Guess what? It kind of is. So here's what we got to do. First, we got to find a nice way to slice off that top portion. Even if you have a nice sharp knife, it's always going to be hard. This is the one time that I'll say, don't worry about slicing, just get it off. Ooh, hope I didn't chip my knife there. It's okay, it's fine. This is a big old, I think this is a kaboka squash that I have here. Right? We're going to get as much of that top element off as possible, rotating the knife all the way through. Great. That's one side. I think this is a kaboka squash, I'm pretty sure. And the type of it only matters in the sense that you don't want to get two kinds of squash. Number one, we're not getting summer squash, we're not getting zucchini. None of the soft ones. This is basically like a pumpkin, right? So as long as it's like a hard, like winter squash, as they're sometimes called, it will be perfect for this. But this doesn't work with zucchini, this doesn't work with summer squash, none of like the soft ones that you just saute or something. This is a proper root vegetable, right? Well, not a root vegetable, whatever it'd be called. All right, let's get, actually, we're not gonna cut, I think we should cut the bottom off as well. It can get a little slimy as well, so try to keep your station clean. You know what? I think we'll just do that after we cut it in half. Knife goes in. We're gonna cut the whole thing in half, my friends. Hi, my times are changing, so I might not be around as often, but it's lovely to see you nonetheless. And why, thank you. A deer steak with a red wine sauce and roasted red potatoes. Yeah, that's very classic deer preparation, isn't it? That's what people do. Okay, look at this thing. Oh, that's quite the squash. We're gonna cut this bottom portion off. We'll at least try to. And then we're going to cut this in half one more time and we're going to scoop out the seeds. We're going to scoop out the seeds and throw it away, and then we have to peel the whole thing. This is a bit of processing, it's a little bit of prep, but once you're done with this, it's very satisfying to have a fully completed product. Careful with the knife, trust me, I'm really careful. I have no idea what you just said to me, I apologize. But don't worry, I am always careful with the knife. always. Okay, one last thing we have to do. We're gonna cut this bad boy in half like so. And it's going to make the process of spooning out the seeds a lot easier. Okay? Just like that. In fact, we could probably do this with a knife, but it'll be fine. Okay, whole lot of squash here. Next, we gotta take a spoon. But yeah, I think this is a kabocha squash. It was unspecified at the supermarket, but at the grocery store I went to, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Just from memory. Anybody that's more of an expert on squashes could correct me though. So, spoon. Let's see how well this does. Get in there, we're gonna scoop out the seeds, like we're doing a pumpkin. All right, same exact idea. Get in there, scrape out all the flesh. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna put another glove on because it does get quite sticky and slimy. So it's nice to be protected from all that. And then it's gonna be easier to peel it once we're at this stage too. So we'll peel it after. It's a lot more difficult to peel a whole like squash that we have to like maneuver around. We're getting rid of basically any excess weight, right? When we do it like this. Okay, get rid of any of the seeds, any of the stringy bits, my friends. Ah, perfect. That looks like a nice clean squash. If I've ever seen one, let me tell you, I've seen one. You have to go now? Well, thank you for stopping by, Jack. It was lovely to have you. Okay, let's clean up the squash even more. We're getting rid of any of the stringy bits. That looks perfect. That's what it looks like. And you see how much of that volume we end up losing with this process. Next one, go in there with the spoon. Go in there with the spoon. And scoop out that big old lump. Oh, I can hear the adobo sizzling. I'm going to quickly turn down that heat again, probably. I think my heat was too high. I'm going to give that a little movement, a little move around, and I can feel how tense the pork is at the moment. I have no idea how long it's going to take to fully cook, but we'll be patient with it. I do love prepping this. It is very, very satisfying work, let me tell you, because you get like this really, really clean, homogenized, firm product at the end of the day. You'll see how satisfying it is. Okay. I should have gotten a slightly bigger waste bowl, but that's okay. It's a little too late now. Clean it up. Any of the last stringy bits, get them all out of there. That's a nice clean squash. Look at that. Next one. We're going to go in there, make an incision with the spoon. We're going to go on the other side. Again, guys, this is just like a pumpkin, except we've already chopped it up, so it does make it a lot easier. So you got the leverage, all right? Clean it up. It's been a while since I've had the pleasure of doing this, so this is quite fun. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. There's not a lot of things that I love prepping. This is definitely one of them. It's just very satisfying work. It all comes into place. It all falls together. The only difficult part is actually cutting it in half the first time around. Making that initial incision can always be tricky, but guess what? We got it done. Okay. There's some more seeds here that I saw. Let's get rid of those. Okay. Last one. I'm going to quickly dump out all of this. There's a part of me that wishes it pressure cooked the pork itself. I hope that gets cooked in time. That's my only anxiety at the moment. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Such is life, I suppose. Okay, that's that. Scoop it up, clean it up. Ugh. Cleaning up my station as I go, making sure there's no mess on my table. And the last step is going to be peeling this whole thing, which is going to be so much easier because we've already chopped it up into pieces, into quarters rather. There's some more seeds here I can probably get rid of. Even if we're wasting a little bit of flesh, it's nice to be thorough with this step. Lovely. And now, my friends, that is the squash. The kaboka squash. Or is this kalabasa? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a difference. Okay. Let's get this out of here. Now let's work on one squash at a time. I have my beautiful peeler, nice and sharp, right here and ready to go. So all I'm going to do, we're going to take the squash in our hands. We're going to go into it. And it's going to take a couple of layers to get all of that skin off. Ooh, it's a little slippery, but country girls make do. It takes a couple of peels. We really don't want to have any remaining peel. On a butternut squash, you don't have to go this deep. I've actually not seen skin this thick. I do wonder if that's maybe more so my peeler being that thin than anything else. Oh, look at it go. Side to side seems to be a lot more effective in this case, so that's what we'll be doing. It's been a while. Clean up the whole thing here. Get rid of any little bits of skin, my friends. Any bits of that green outside remaining. This bowl is filling up quite a bit. Let's dump this out. We following along? I know this is a little bit tedious, but you can sometimes just enjoy the ritual of what you're doing. Just checking the time behind me. Ah, lovely. Clean this up one last time. And I think I've gotten rid of the majority of the skin off the squash. And the music ends at the same exact time. It's pretty funny. Okay. Next. You know what? I'm thinking. Here's my idea. I think if I were to cut this one more time like so, that this would be a lot easier for me to process. Because then it's not going to slip out of my hand as much. Let's see if we can put that to the test. Yeah, because then I can get leverage on it this way and peel it down the whole length. I think that'll be easier going forward. And this bowl should have been bigger. Okay, I'm gonna make one more dirty dish. It's fine. This is for my own sake. This is going to save my life. No, I think peeling it side to side is still kind of optimal. Yeah, that seems to do a better job. And when we have a bigger bowl, we can just dump it in. The adobo is not going to be done by that time. How do I memorize so many recipes? It's about understanding technique and understanding what we're doing. Right? In this case, this is something I've never actually done before. I've never done this squash. But I understand like the basic idea of it. And recipes are not about ratios unless it's something very specific and chemical happening. It's about understanding what you're doing and what you're actually going for. Also, I think, you know what, I'm okay with giving the pork extra time because I'd rather go overcook rather than undercook, so we have nice and tender pork, that it's fully like braised through and cooked. Okay, excellent. That's peeled up. A bit of a Herculean task, but we'll get it done, my friends. Okay, that's done. That looks good. That one was done as well. We're almost done with half the squash. Let's see if we can go faster. Make a mess while we're at it. I like usually doing nice long strokes, but this might be too hard for us to do that too. Ooh, this is optimal. Hold on. If you get it like this, then you get like a really nice grip on it until it pulls it away from you. I think I might need a new peeling suit. Peelers should be replaced every so often in your kitchen. Unless you have one that can actually sharpen, right? But that's a different story. These things have to come and go. As soon as it's dull and it's not doing the job, it's gotta go. It's done. Okay. Almost done. Lovely. Half the squash. Oh, thank you. I didn't realize that I had adjusted and moved the bowl over. I am sorry about how long this is taking. I do sincerely apologize in that regard. You guys deserve more exciting content, but this is the reality of cooking. Sometimes you get stuff like this. Although I'm not sick of it. I'm enjoying this part. I'm glad I got a bigger bowl. Oh my God. I can't believe I was doing that with such a small waste bowl before. Okay, that's one half. And then let's do the other half. All right, we got through this one pretty fast, didn't we? At the expense of getting some peels all over my table, but it's nothing that my hands can't fix. It's slippery. Philippines mentioned, that's right. I love that image so much. Oh, it's so good. Okay. My hair is getting in my face. I got tired of it. Okay. This one's cleaned up. Last one. Oh, my hands are tired, actually. Okay. Getting all of this back in here. I'm gonna have to wipe down my table properly after, but that's okay. Such is how it goes. Almost done. Okay, guess what? We did it. We peeled all the squash. We did it, gang. And now, last thing, I gotta figure out my table situation, because this is without a doubt a mess. Let's get all this off, all of it out of here. That's the beauty of a bench scraper, all right? This is what it does. Allows us just to clean everything up really nicely. All right, now we can do the final step, which is chopping this thing up into cubes. I'm gonna do something silly. Remember how I said, oh guys, remember, you never rush when you cook. Well, I'm on a little bit of a time limit. So we'll actually be setting the heat on to the pot, and we'll start getting our pork browned, and we're gonna start it off in a cold pan, as we did before. Just for the sake of time efficiency at this point, because I'm on a little bit of a schedule, and I really would like to get this done now. So, pork. Another spoon will be dedicated to the stew. We're going to get all of that pork meat onto a cold pan, yet again, cold pan. We're going to spread it out nice and evenly on the bottom, and we're going to render out all of that fat for everything else to cook in. And if we need more oil, we'll get more oil in there. But this has to happen now. All right, my friends? Good. Glad we're on the same page. I'm going to give the adobo a little stir while we're at it. That looks good. Looks pretty wonderful. And we're going to get that bacon, that pork belly, excuse me, on a nice medium heat. I don't want to bang it. Please, come off, unstick. That'll be fine. So we're going to spread this out nice and evenly on the bottom. Make sure the pork is not touching each other and it's all in a nice flat layer. Medium, low heat. Are squashes pumpkins? I think pumpkins are squashes. I think that's how it goes. Though I'm not entirely sure on that kind of thing. It's not my field of expertise. Rinsing off my knife because it got a little starchy from the squash on it. And the idea is this: we're going to brown up the meat, we're going to brown up the onions and the garlic, and then we're going to add in the coconut milk and cook the squash in the coconut milk. And while that's going, we'll work on the rice too. So we're going to be nice and efficient, my friends. Let's get this out of here. This is my waste bowl part 2, electric boogaloo. Are pumpkins? Yes, Taza, you got it. Good job, you did it. You can hear that pork beginning to sizzle. And that is going to provide the fat for everything else to cook in, okay? And now, how do we prep the squash? Beautiful question, thank you for asking. We're going to cut this into a wedge, like so, into 1/8. And then, I think we'll just cut it into 1/16. So on an angle, on a little bias like that, we cut these into 1/16. Perfect. Good job. You did it. This one's already in 1/8. Get this peel out of the way. I should really have another glove on for the job because it is getting quite sticky again. This is the kind of a thing that you could peel probably a couple days in advance. I do think they hold up in the fridge quite well. Okay. Got that done. You know, maybe it's easier to chop it like that than it is in any other way. Let's see. Yep, that seems to do the job. That does the trick. That needs to get cut in half one more time. Oh, look at all this squash. Lovely. And then into 1/16. Nice thin wedges. And then we'll cut this up into cubes. And that's going to be the squash for this lovely stew. Okay? We have a big old pile, we have a big old mess of squash. Ugh. Got it done. Okay, my friends. And now we cube it up. We'll do it like this. We'll do it like this and like this. You see these? We kept this piece a little bit longer because it's the thinnest end. And these are the fatter ends, so we compensate and we keep them shorter. All right, 1, 2. Lovely. And we'll go through all of the squash this way. I think that'll do. You do want to keep these fairly consistent, or as consistent as you can get them, so that they all cook evenly, okay? But you don't want big pieces. Those will take too long. Just as long as you're consistent. That's a lot of squash. Whoa. We'll see how much that actually produces for today. I might end up getting a huge thing of stew. I might not use all the squash today. I might have to be inventive with using it for something else. Okay, I gotta give the pork a little stir. This is why I never really recommend doing this, having stuff cooking at the same time as doing prep, because now we do have to babysit this, right? But that's okay. That's how these kinds of things go. And again, don't worry about all the stuff stuck on the bottom. All of that's going to get deglazed and into the rest of the stew. We're just trying to get some of the fat out, but I think in this case, we might need to compensate with additional fat because we don't have that much pork. We'll see. Nice slices all the way through. Getting yourself some nice big old pieces of squash. Lovely. And with that, I think we finished all the prep work. This is kabocha squash. Ah, one drop. And then we'll clean up and we'll work on the rice. Uh-oh, I've just realized I might have run out of things for us to do. We did it again. It's fine, downtime is okay. If you guys have cooking questions, save them. We're going to have some downtime soon, and I would love to answer them for you during them. Guess what? We're done with all the prep. All the squash has now been officially chopped up. Let's head to the stove while I clean up my station. That sound good? The pork is cooking along quite nicely. Yeah, it's getting some good color on it, right? We're getting some fat out of it as well. We'll push it a little bit longer, and then we'll go in with the onions. The adobo is also going simultaneously, and we do have to work on the rice pretty soon as well. Giving that a little stir. Smells wonderful. Excellent. So, oh, I have so many messages. Why is it only when I stream that people want to talk to me? Unbelievable, these guys. Okay. Oh, we should also probably open up the cans of coconut milk in the meantime. Also, thank you so much, Catman, for the sub. Really, really appreciate it. Very sweet of you. Oh, shit. There's one thing I forgot to do. Ginger. That's right. Okay. My friends, we need to prep some ginger. I was like, I know I'm missing a component here. And I was like, whatever could it be? It's ginger. We're going to lower the heat on that pork to make sure it doesn't burn. In the meantime, how could I be so silly, everybody? How could I be so silly? I was like, this dish seems pretty simple. I thought I would have like one more flavor in it. And guess what? It does have one more flavor in it. So, this is a pretty old piece of ginger. We're going to take off those dried off ends, because it is pretty old, not very good ginger. We're going to peel it up with a knife. I don't care about how much I'm wasting. It is old ginger. And get a nice little piece here. And this is going to get added at the same time as the garlic. Guys, that was a good catch. I was like, what am I forgetting? I'm so silly. I didn't take it out beforehand, so I totally forgot about it. Okay, here's what happens. We take the ginger, we crush it up just like this. Then we'll go nice, fine, as thin as you can, slices through it. Slice up all that ginger, okay? Then you take it, you're going to bunch it up, and now we're going to mince it up as fine as we can. All the way through. And we'll give this a couple of passes to make sure it really is that fine. Ooh, I'm so glad we caught that. I would not have wanted to have this dish without the ginger. It's a good thing I referenced. I checked Google. I was like, something missing? There was something missing. Lovely. We did it. That's it. I'm going to set that aside on the plate where we have the rest of the aromatics. And now we really have to give this a stir before it burns. Guys, take this as a lesson. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay? This should not have happened this way. I should not have had to worry about that. Also, thank you so much to Captain Aspie for the sub. Really, really appreciate it of you. Oh, we got a hype train. That's right. Whoa, it's going wonderful. I did almost forget an ingredient. I almost forgot a component, but that's okay. Okay. Guess what? That pork almost totally cooked through. Oh, look at that pork. It is really, really crispy. Am I rocking with the rock chop? Nope. I hate rock chops. I hate them. I hate them. They're useless big motions that just end up crushing everything. And I'm a big slice guy. I'm a big slice guy. I'm a big chop hater. I'm a big rock chop hater. It's a very big, inefficient motion. So I don't like them. I'm not a fan. I'm going to rinse off my knife because it has ginger on it. It can be quite harsh. Just getting all the stuff off of it, and I'm going to wipe it nice and dry. It's a carbon steel knife. You have to take care of these things. You have to baby them. They're going to slowly develop over time what's called a patina, a little bit of color. It's not rust, it's a patina. Some people, they like to completely polish off the patina that develops on a knife. I've never had a carbon steel knife. It's going to be interesting to see what I prefer aesthetically. But real carbon steel guys, they love their patina. They love it. Can't get enough of it. Hydrate? Okay, I suppose you're right. Give me a second, and I'll get to it. Oh, there is actually one more component. We're going to do some instant chicken bouillon. You could use also like a Knorr stock cube. I thought this would be appropriate though. We're going to do that for a little bit of extra flavor and oomph. Okay? It's gonna be good. Hydrate? You're right. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, guess what? That pork has rendered out actually plenty of fat. So much fat that we can just take it and we can cook the onions in it now. And then we'll add the ginger and the garlic and then the coconut milk. But right now, onion time. Get a load of that, huh? Perfect. We're going to turn up the heat. And we do have to start salting things. We didn't salt the adobo itself because that is filled with soy sauce. This is going to need some extra help. Oh, and it smells wonderful. Cooking pork and onions together. You really can't beat it. Oh my God, what are you guys doing to me? That's why I set it to 5,000 so you don't drown me. I'm gonna need more water to keep up. What have you done to me? I did it, okay? I did it. I did it. Okay. Onions and pork are going. They smell wonderful. We're gonna get some color on it. The pork is nice and crispy down there. Incredible. Thank God nobody else is in chat actively to drown me in water. That would have been a problem. That would have been an issue. I have to moisturize my hands. They're not doing so good. So moisturizing, they go. I gotta put some gloves on. Okay. Last step, we gotta open up some coconut milk. We gotta really get that done. So that when it's go time, we can just pour it right in. If I had 1K more points, I'm sorry, Zeltronic. There's a reason I made it so expensive, so that people couldn't do that to me. People used to do that to me all the time. Also, whoa, Doskis, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. That's very sweet of you. That's really, really sweet of you. Thank you. Oh, guys, the cooking onions and pork, it's to die for. It's so simple, but it is perfect. Okay. I'm putting some stuff away. We don't need the bench scraper anymore. My beloved finally did its job. Actually, I'm going to keep that spoon and get all the trash out. Dosky, stop it. That's what you sounded like typing that. So we're developing some color before we stew everything down. This is where the flavor of this dish comes from. Okay? And we're going to finish it with some fish sauce at the end too to give it some more oomph. We never really cook with fish sauce. Fish sauce, you only add to the end of dishes, okay? If you see somebody cooking down fish sauce, I don't know, it's always a little weird. It's always a little weird for me to see that. Okay. I'm just cleaning up my station, throwing things into the dishwasher. Ugh. Got it all done. Let's give those onions and the pork a little mix, a little stir. They're cooking down, they're sweating down, they look lovely at the moment. They're looking quite handsome. Onion, back you go. Let's get this spoon. Let's inspect the adobo situation. What's happening with you, pal? Ooh, that looks good, but I can already tell with the surface tension, that pork is still a little bit too tough. So I'm actually quite glad that we slowed stuff down, because that just needs to cook longer. Okay, because that pork needs to get really, really nice and tender. Ah. I'm just checking some stuff. Okay. So, in the thing that I was, excuse me, wrong one. In the thing that I was referencing, they said to add in the squash after it's boiled. I have a feeling that if we do that, the squash is not going to cook all the way through evenly. So we're going to add it pretty soon. Okay, we got tuna on that heat. It's getting a little too much color on the bottom. We're going to deglaze it soon. In the meantime, the step that we have to do, we have to open up our coconut milk. So here's what you do. Again, I'm quite new to working with coconut milk. I haven't used some in a while. Give it a little shake because it tends to separate. Nice thorough shaking, okay? Take it, puncture it, and then we open sesame. Ah, no, I made a mistake. I dropped the lid inside. It's over. There's no coming back from this. No, come back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, little guy. I'll never do this to you again. Ooh, that is thick. Okay. Next. Open. Let's see if we can stop it from splitting this time into the thing. Okay, and open. Pop that lid. Yes, we got it. Look at us go. Experts, really. Experts at our craft. In fact, there she comes. There it goes. Oh no, I don't think I shook that one, but that's okay. Look at it. Perfect. 2 cans, ready to go at a moment's notice. In the meantime, we do have to take care of the onions and the pork. Let's head back to the stove, my friends. I can smell it. It smells wonderful. We got some really lovely color developed and everything. I gotta turn the music back on. And now, the onions, the pork, they've been cooked. We have the ginger, and we have the garlic. And this is where so much flavor for this is going to come from. And I don't think we'll use up all that squash. We'll see how much I'm feeling. Okay? We're going to saute that for a second. We don't want to burn these aromatics. These are the ones that are most susceptible to burning. Okay, the garlic and the ginger. So we're going to have to give that a nice stir in a second. We don't have cartoonish looking nutrition facts. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, smells wonderful. And we need to add 4 cups, or 2 cans, I guess, of coconut milk. And we're gonna add a big spoon of that chicken stock, right? The powdered chicken stock. Actually, no, wait, first coconut milk. First we do the coconut milk, my friends. And on it all goes. Perfect. It's my first time making this. I've also never eaten it. I just heard of it and I think it sounded delicious, right? So that's why I went for this dish today. And we're going to make sure that we're never boiling this too hard. We don't want our coconut milk to split. We don't want it to curdle, we don't want it to split. We're deglazing the bottom, basically. We're getting rid of all the stuck bits. If we boil this for too hard, for too long, it'll split. Getting all the stuff incorporated. I can feel there's some more stuck bits at the bottom. So we're just getting rid of all that now. We're going to try and get this to a simmer. Okay. Getting everything incorporated. And now, my friends, we're going with the squash. And I'm going to see how much squash we end up doing. I might not use all of this. So let's just get some in there. I think that's enough squash. I don't know what I'll do with the rest of this, but I'm looking at that amount of squash in there and I'm like, I think that's going to be plenty. Yeah, that's plenty. I'll have to figure out a use for the rest of it. I'm not going to try and push this amount of coconut milk. It's not going to cook too evenly if we do that. Okay, that goes on. And then we're going to do a nice spoonful of the chicken broth, the powdered chicken broth. Right, the bouillon. And while that's going, I'm going to wash up the rice. And we'll put the chicken broth in and we'll cook the rice. That'll be great. So, big old spoon of that. The garlic, the ginger, the chicken broth now has some of the sauteed pork. Perfect. That's going to be enough because it's not that much in volume. Oh. We're going to stir all that chicken in, all the chicken bouillon. Okay, my friends, I have to wash some rice. So let's do that now. Perfect. That's going. We're going to put a lid on it. Where's my favorite little lid? Where's my favorite little lid? Where'd you go, buddy? I have this lid that fits all sizes. Is it in the dishwasher? I don't think so. Oh, I don't know where my favorite little lid is. Oh, that is so overexposed, isn't it? Guys, get real. Are we serious? Oh, I'm annoyed about this camera again. It's doing the thing. Look at it, it's not even adjusting anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you. Not you, just the webcam. Okay, I'm gonna get a lid. I think it's just because it's really white that it's like freaking out. It's like, whoa, I don't know what to do with this. It'll be the way it'll be. Yeah, I've actually just lost this lid too. Am I going crazy? Am I losing my mind? What if the bench scraper is in the stove? That's right, we're still on that. Holy shit. Okay, I need to find this lid now. If I don't find it, there will be issues. First, we're gonna stir the adobo, because I can hear that thing boiling away. Oh, that looks great. Give that a little stir, put that back in. I gotta find this lid. I don't care at what cost. I don't care who has to lose their life here. What is going on? I don't even know what to say anymore. Is it in here? No. I'm sad. I'm feeling distressed. I need to get this saucepan out anyways for when we do the rice itself, but it might just be over. Okay, it's not gonna cook with a lid. It's not gonna cook with a lid. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. Let's give this a little stir. How hot is it? Is it going to be cold? It's actually coming up. Ooh. Oh, that's quite delicious. Okay. It's going to get nice and sweet, hopefully, from the squash. Okay, I guess it'll just cook. It'll cook whenever it feels like it, without a lid, because I don't have the one lid that suits this thing. It's been a long day. I'm gonna wash some rice. And I think we could actually probably do a little switcheroo. I think you guys would rather look at the adobo, and I would rather look at the adobo personally, than look at the vegetable stew. So I'm gonna have this guy go over there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pot of adobo. And this is where it starts to cook without a lid. Also, thank you so much for the $15. Hey! What? What did that say? I didn't hear what that said at all. I can't believe you missed it. Thank you for the $15. Thank you. Very sweet of you. Hope you're doing well, Kilo. Okay, let's get the adobo back onto the stove. And the stew has to now boil away. This has to reduce in all of its liquid and all of its moisture. I have to get rid of it. Ooh, I should not have picked up the lid like that on this Dutch oven. It's really hot. Okay. We're gonna reduce all the liquid. We're gonna get it down to a nice little lovely sauce. And then we'll see how tender the whole operation has become. The rice, in the meantime, we gotta wash it up. That's what I'm doing. Guys, I gotta say, losing two things that I use all the time has broken me. It has actually broken me. Guys, we're gonna give it a nice proper washing. Thank you, Kilo. I really appreciate it. That was very sweet of you. It is good to see you. I hope you've been well. Oof. That is really thick. Okay? I'm gonna wash up this rice in the meantime. And guys, everybody, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, this is your time to voice it to me. Because now everything just has to cook. I have to get it all out of the way now. So if there's anything that you want to say to me, this is your time to do it. I'm gonna wash up the rice. I'm gonna get it really, really clean, devoid of any of the starch. We're gonna fill it up with chicken broth. Because the stew is going to take maybe like 20 minutes and the rest is going to take about 15. And I think I'll just be cleaning up while all of that is happening. Okay, my rice is now officially washed. And all I need to do now, we're gonna throw it onto the stove here. Ooh, this is boiling aggressively. Dare I say too aggressively. All we're gonna do, my friends, we're going to keep it intentionally unsalted because it's going to soak up all of that soy sauce. We're going to throw in a bunch of chicken stock here, right into the rice. It's going to cook in it. We're going to distribute it. We're going to make sure we have a nice, delicious thing of rice. Okay. We want to have a little bit of water above the rice itself. Perfect. That looks like the right amount to me. And then we're going to turn it on to a medium heat. We're going to drop it to a boil, drop it to a simmer, and we're going to put some bay leaves on top of it just to finish it off. Just to get it nice and aromatic. Okay, my friends? So everything is cooking now. Everything is going at this stage. Ooh, we do have to stir this semi-often. We really, really don't want this to curdle in any shape or form. We want the coconut milk to get nice and sweet from the squash. We want the squash to get nice and tender. And last step, once again, we're gonna go to the rice. We're gonna plop some bay leaves on it that I've already put away. Sweet. 1, 2, another bay leaf for fun. So again, really, really simple rice. And we're intentionally not salting it because it's going to soak up all of the salty soy sauce, right? It's going to be filled with flavor. Rice is meant to be a staple. It is looking good in that pot. I'm inclined to agree with you. But I think that meat is still a little too tough for me, but it's going to cook down. It's going to cook down. We're going to get a nice sauce out of all of this. We're going to get that meat, hopefully, tender soon. It is starting to break apart, though, which is good. That is what we're looking for. Okay, my friends, the stew is now boiling, so we drop it to a simmer, and then we give it a nice little stir, and it's going to thicken as we lose some of the moisture, as we cook down the coconut milk. We do have to babysit this. I hope that I didn't cut my squash in too big of pieces, but it should be okay. How's it taste? Oh. You know what? It's really going to need that sweetness that the squash releases. I love bay leaves. I really do. They're really special. We're going to turn down that heat to make sure that we don't lose our moisture too quickly here. We still want the meat to continue cooking at this stage. What we can do is we can start picking at it and start getting rid of some of the garlic and start getting rid of some of the chilies and the bay leaves from this. Because now we just want to cook the meat and we want to finish reducing it all. The only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take out a piece of meat and taste it to see where it's at. Because that's what we're dependent on the most here. It's a little too tense for me, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, come on, buddy. Up you go. So this is the really thin piece that we have. That's braised along here. Smells like adobo. It smells wonderful. That's delicious. Oh, that is so good. That is so rich. Oh, the pork belly is so rich. And we're going to get rid of some of that acidity just by the process of cooking all of this down. Okay? So I'm not totally sure why that works. We definitely lose the acidity in the reduction process. I just can't tell you why. Curdling cream sauces are my mortal enemy. Well, thank you for the reminder for me to give this pot a little stir. Again, we're not boiling this. No boiling heat. All right? We want to slowly simmer away the squash, my friends. Give it a stir. Make sure it's all cooking evenly. It's on a very nice pan, so it should. This is still too high of a heat. Oh, guys, let me tell you, the pork belly, it is so good. That is incredible. Gonna grab all my dirty dishes in the meantime. I'm going to quickly repackage that rest of that squash. I'm gonna figure out what to do with it another time. So this dish is gonna be interesting. I really think the sweetness of the squash is going to sell that coconut milk, right? Because it's like kind of begging for it and it's going to release it naturally. I see that rice is boiling. We turn down that heat. Uh-oh, where's my lid? Where's my rice lid? Guys, did I do it again? I don't think I did it again, did I? I did not, I found it. Turn down the heat, put a lid on it, and now that's going to cook for anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes. And then we mix it through and we let it steam. Perfect. And this, when the squash is almost done, we'll add in the green beans because that takes significantly less time. This takes basically as long as you would, cook a potato. Maybe cooking breaks down an acidic component. I'm not entirely sure why. Like for tomato sauces, of course, right? When you get rid of the liquid, you're allowing the sugars to really, really concentrate, right? That's like one very important mechanism at play there. I guess I should just Google it. Why does reducing vinegar kill the acidity? I do wonder. I'm very curious about it. But yeah, the thin piece of pork was nice and tender. That does tell me, though, that the thick one is still not exactly where it needs to be. And it's going to be a lot tastier in the reheating as well. So today it's not optimal, but tomorrow it'll just be even better. Oh, wonderful. Okay, that sauce, the coconut, it's boiling away now. We're gonna give that another stir through. Just to keep it moving, stop it from curdling. Uh-oh, is that what I think it is? Is that a curdled coconut? No, it's a little piece of ginger. I got scared for a second. I did get quite nervous. Oh, that's hot. That's quite good. Why does vinegar get less acidic when you cook it? Oh. Interesting. Acetic acid has a boiling point of 118 degrees Celsius. Whoa. That is fascinating. I was not aware that acetic acid had that low of a boiling point. And here's the thing though, because the water is boiling, so here's the thing. In total, this whole thing is probably still boiling at 100 degrees Celsius, right? Because that's when water actually takes place. However, you don't need things to be at the exact boiling point for it to evaporate. Because the way that it happens and the way that molecules vibrate, there's still parts of it that are then going to hit that boiling point and then get turned into a gas. That's why water is able to evaporate without necessarily even being boiling, right? Just even by being warm, over time it does evaporate, although a little bit slower. So, there's actually probably some acetic acid that is actively leaving this. I was not aware of that fact. Even at 100 degrees, some of it is going to still disappear and evaporate, just it's not going to boil. Things can evaporate it without the whole thing being at a boiling temperature. Okay? That's the important thing to consider here. The thing that the squash is reminding me more of anything is more like a curd, like a coconut milk curd. But that is really, really interesting stuff. Well, thicker and sweeter, yes. If we're talking about concentrating sugars, right? We're talking about concentrating sugars, then absolutely. But there is actual acetic acid that is potentially being evaporated here in the process. You know, here's the best comparison of it. Let's say you had, let's say you had 1 liter of vinegar, and you were to cook it down. And then if you were to compare the taste of that, if you were to dilute it back up with water to 1 liter, let's say you cooked it down until it's a syrup, and then you pour water in it, and then you get back a liter, and then you compare that to the taste of raw vinegar. And I'm curious which one will be more acidic than the other, or if they'll be the same. And my guess is that the one that was boiled down would actually be slightly less acidic. That is my guess here. I bet some of it actually does get evaporated. It's at 118 degrees Celsius as the boiling point. Some of it must be going away during the boiling of water, even if it's only at 100 degrees Celsius. Surely some of it must. Surely. That's my guess, at least. Yeah, it's the concentration of sugars and both simultaneously some of the acetic acid potentially evaporating. Now, I want to be careful to make sure I'm not misusing any scientific jargon here, because that is a big mistake that people tend to make all the time. They inappropriately apply scientific concepts and say, oh, this makes sense, so it surely must be this way. Case in point, people misuse emulsification all the time. So I am careful to call it, to not call it that until I have confirmation that that's the case. But I have a very strong inclination that it might be. Okay, I can see the coconut milk slowly staining in color. Interesting. The squash is slowly staining it as it goes. Getting rid of all my dirty bowls in the meantime. What fun. What joy. Yes, yeah, and water, it can evaporate without boiling either, right? So, pretty interesting stuff is what this is. we're going to make sure that we're getting all the stuff from the sides back incorporated into the adobo. And then here's what we're gonna do now. We're going to go in there with some chopsticks. I think that's gonna be my ideal tool of choice. Ooh, and I'm cooking down that squash. Oh, it's going. That squash is going. I wonder if I need to thin this out with water or if it's just going to stew in the coconut milk. No, that seems to be the texture. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, my friends. Ooh, that is still boiling really hard. Cut it out. Relax, chill. Also, thank you so much for the sub. Red shirt. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Here's what I'm gonna do, my friends. We are going to go ahead and take some chopsticks. We're going to get a little waste plate aside. And now we have to get every single little bay leaf. We have to get every single chili. We have to get them out of here, okay? I'm going to glove up for this though, just to make sure that I don't damage my hand doing this. Hope you're having a beautiful day today, Red Shirt. It's good to see you. Happy early Thanksgiving, little PogChamp. Same to you. It's been forever. Hope you've been doing well. Okay. So, going in there, bay leaf spotted, bay leaf removed. That's all we're going to do. We're going to go through all of this. Garlic clove spotted, garlic clove removed. It does not need to be in the final dish. Bay leaf. Oh, the peppercorns are going to be annoying, but isn't that the joy of adobo? I swear I've saw like Filipino people like making TikToks about like getting a peppercorn in the adobo. I think that was actually a piece of meat that I got. Whoops. Garlic clove. Garlic cloves are actually quite difficult to pick out. But they've done their job. They've imparted their sweetness. We got a lot of beautiful garlic flavor out of them. Mission accomplished. It's time to go home. I can't actually pick them out all that well. The bay leaves are really my biggest concern, and then the chilies as well. Bay leaf, garlic clove, perfect. And out it all comes. Garlic clove, gotcha, good buddy. I see you. Oh, that pork is getting so nice and tender. It's looking lovely. Smash Bros on the side, credit card ain't gonna pay itself. That's right, Smash. The most profitable esport there is. So I have a question. Are you winning some? Are you winning your locals? Is that what's going on here? Really, my only stressor at the moment is making sure my squash gets properly cooked. I don't believe the sites that says, oh, this takes 8 to 10 minutes. I know squash, I don't think it cooks that quickly. It's a potato, essentially, right? You bring it up to a boil, drop to simmer, cook 15 to 20 minutes at a boil. Ooh, that's another bay leaf. Out it comes. Come on, buddy. Yeah, chopsticks are ideal for this, I think, just because I can really get in there and get rid of every little tiny piece. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm doing a great job here. Boop, another garlic clove. Spotted. Another garlic clove. Spotted. Excellent. Give it a little stir around. How's it hanging? How's it going? It's looking good. Oh, and I can see how viscous it's getting, too. You can see the way that the bubbles are breaking now, right? It's no longer runny and loose. We now have a beautiful sauce at the bottom. And now I'm going to taste another piece of pork. Is what's going to happen. I'm not too hungry, though. Is the only issue. That's right. Also, hello. Hi, it's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. We love Nintendo. Woo! But hopefully their licensing system is good. People say that it's fine. But they might have some commentators blacklisted. That'd be funny. Okay. That's looking pretty good now. If there's any more pieces, we'll fish them out. I gotta give this another stir through. The squash is probably getting tender at this point. We'll take out a piece and we'll cut it just to test it. And then soon we'll add the green beans into the whole deal. Okay, in the meantime, I'm gonna try another piece of pork for fun. I'm just using chopsticks because it's easy to pick something out. Aha! Oh, that's actually just a piece of pork. Okay. Thinking about that pork? Me too. Oh, that's got that sting from the chili. Beautiful. Aha! I spotted another bay leaf we can take out. That's really tasty. But that heat is still too high. Chill out. You don't need to be cooking so aggressively, buddy. We've got places to do. We've got still things to do. That is very flavorful. Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm thinking about that adobo, my friends. What can I say? Only good things, actually. We have like slightly caramelized. Oh, that's interesting. There's like the slightly caramelized coconut milk on the sides that are developing from just cooking on the edges of that pot. Okay, I'm gonna take out a piece of this and I'm gonna see the texture of my squash now. You know what, with the amount of like fiddling and babying I've had to do, oh, you know what, the squash is getting tender. All right, we'll do the green beans. Green beans going in now. I already saw the texture of that squash. I was like, I know you're good to go through this. I know you're ready to take on this. Green beans. And we're just gonna let this cook for a few more minutes. And that's the stew. Green beans, squash, coconut milk, and we'll finish it all with a bit of fish sauce, excuse me. Finish it all with a little bit of fish sauce. That's taken out a lot of the sweetness. Really nice. We just want to make sure that the string beans aren't raw, but that they still have some texture to them. Whoa, that's really good. Oh, that's cooked out nicely. It's gonna need some salt. But that stew, that vegetable stew with the coconut milk, pretty lovely. With a big pinch, and then we'll finish it with the fish sauce once the string beans have had a chance to cook. And now, my friends, the rice is also done. So we just got to give that a little stir, and we got to let that chill out for 5 minutes. Oh, gorgeous. Let's give the adobo another stir. Make sure nothing is squelching anywhere. Make sure we're getting all the stuff from the sides. You see this on the sides? That has to go back in. No doubt about it. It's not a question. I think the adobo is done. We'll take that off the heat in a second. The rice is done. We're just going to stir that through. We've juggled a million things yet again, and we've done so successfully. I'm going to take some chopsticks to just go through it a little easier, and we can pick out the bay leaves this way too. Nice and aromatic rice because of the addition of the bay leaves, and we cooked it in the chicken stock. Ah, excellent. I'm just folding this stuff through. Excellent. Cover that back up, take it off the heat, and let that rest 5 minutes. Ooh. The squash, the green beans, it's looking pretty wonderful. The adobo, the pork belly, cooked down really nicely, sitting in its own beautiful sauce. Perfect. If I was in a restaurant, I would separate the fat. I'd separate the fat, but that's not the case. Ooh, that's good. I'm not that hungry though. I'll have a little bit. I'll make a nice plate. I'll only eat a little bit of it though. That sound good? Hi, Everybody keeping along good? We all following? Great. Happy to have you all. That is nice. I should get the fish sauce open. We're gonna do only like a little bit, right? We'll do a little dash, a little splash. How do I get this thing open? This is a huge bottle of fish sauce. I don't cook with fish sauce particularly often, but I guess I have to now to get rid of it. Hey Doggy, what's your opinion on cooking things sous vide? It's great. It just takes up a lot of space because you have to have a proper vessel that's big enough to take that on. Yep, that is fish sauce. So we'll do a couple of dashes of that. Not too much. That should be plenty for a pot like that. I know, I'm sorry. I'm a white guy that's afraid of fish sauce, but we don't really need that much. Okay. The pork, I can officially take off the heat. That does not need that temperature any longer. Ah, beautiful. That does look really good. Excellent. Give it a little bit of oomph. Fish sauce mentioned, that's right. This is a lot of food. Holy shit. And we're gonna have more food in the next few days too. What am I doing? Why am I making such big portions? Well, we'll figure it out, won't we? How is the string bean? Is the string bean cooked? That's really firm. We'll give that a few more minutes. I should have had the fish sauce later once the string beans were actually adequately done. Hey, wait a second. It's cooking in the chicken stock. The rice is cooking in the chicken stock. We don't hate chicken stock. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? Ah, but look at all this pork belly. Perfect. That is a beautiful adobo, my friends. Also, thank you so much for the sub. Really, really appreciate it. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Now, we have a lot going on here. We have a lot of different dishes, right? And I guess I could get my plate ready for now. And I think what I'm gonna do is, here's my idea for the plate. I'm gonna have like the thing of rice on the plate itself. I'm gonna surround it with the adobo. And in this vessel, I'm going to have the stew going on. That'll be the combination I'm looking for. The rice is about to come off. It's almost finished. The adobo has already been done cooking. It's now just chilling out for a second. Perfect. And you could thicken this up with some cornstarch. That's like a bit more of a restaurant-y thing I've seen people do. But I don't mind having the fat separated because the rice is going to still soak up all of it anyways. Right? That is really good. I was a little nervous about it in the beginning, but the sweetness from the squash is what really, really makes this stew. We can kill the heat now. The green beans are done. And guess what? The rice has also finished resting. Has 20 seconds on it technically, but it's done resting. And now, my friends, we can think about the plating of it all. So here's what's gonna happen. Let's come over here. Oh, wrong one. Let's do this. Here's what we're gonna do. First, on this plate, we're going to have a portion of the rice. We'll spoon it out, and then we'll flip it over to make it look really, really pretty. Oh, that rice is really nice. And I made sure to add a little bit more water than I usually do because I wanted like a very soft, squishy rice for something like this. We pack it in. I'm gonna show you. Rice packed into this little bowl, We're gonna make it look pretty. We're gonna do the thing. You know what the thing is? We take it, we flip it over, we give it a little tap, we let it form, we let it come into shape. Just like that. Get a nice little thing of rice. Now, you know what? We'll have this be in a separate bowl. And then, we're going to go ahead and scoop some of the adobo onto this little plate. Mix it up, make sure we get both the sauce and the fat. Beautiful. I know it looks greasy, but it is gonna be filled. That rice is gonna be just perfectly saturated with it, okay? Actually, it might just still be a lot of fat, but that's okay. I think it actually still look really, really nice with having this here. We're gonna shove this rice aside. I know it looks a little weird, but we got it. Okay, perfect. Let's move that around. The pork belly has a lot more fat than like a chicken adobo does, right? Hence why it looks like that. But the final step, we're gonna go ahead and scoop out some of the stew. Am I gonna be able to lift that? No, I won't. So I'm just gonna pick it up as it is. Got the side of the bowl messy, but that's okay. Get a couple spoons of that. And there it is, my friends. That is the meal for today. Last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can spoon over some of the cooking liquid. But I'm only getting the fat, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm only getting like a big amount of that pork fat, and it's going to separate a lot easier in the fridge. I'm gonna store the fat and the meat separately, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now, actually. No, that's fine. I'm just plating it this way because that's the way you should plate it. I'm plating it this way because I'm making it look pretty for you guys. Okay. Everybody, this is it. All right, everybody, we have completed our meal officially. I'm really, really happy with everything here. We have made a wonderful little feast. First step, we have our pork belly adobo. The pork belly adobo, we took a bunch of pork belly, we chopped it up into cubes, we seared it off, we got a lot of really nice color on it. We threw in some black peppercorns, we threw in some bay leaves, a bunch of garlic, okay? And then also some chilies. I know it's not conventional, but we did it anyways. We did some chilies. And then we cooked it down in a bunch of Filipino soy sauce and a bunch of Filipino vinegar and a little bit of water, cooked it down and reduced it into this nice, beautiful sauce. Then we have, of course, the stewed squash and green beans. We had some more pork, we fried it up. We fried up onions, garlic, and ginger. We added a bunch of coconut milk. We added the squash, we added the string beans, and we added some chicken bouillon. And this is the rice, really simple, just cooked with bay leaves and chicken stock, and then everything is just going to get soaked into that rice. And it's gonna be wonderful. So now, my friends, let's eat. You can't have adobo without rice, so that's what we're doing right here. All right, take a nice big old scoop of that. That's so good. The rice just soaks everything up so nicely. That is really good. I don't think I can eat all of this though. I'm not too hungry. I kind of had a meal before I did the stream today. So, such is how it is today. That is wonderful. That's really lovely. Now, we can take some of the squash, we can take some of the green bean as well, take some of the coconut milk, and have some of that with the rice. That is really pleasant. The natural sweetness of that squash really, really comes through and really sells it. If I had to compare it to something, and this is just my first time having it, it really is just like a vegetarian, like Thai curry, right? Just like a coconut curry. I want to see if I can get any of the pork in here. Did I get any of the pork? I don't think so. That's really pleasant. The pork with the rice, perfect. On its own, adobo can be super, super intense. when you mix it with the rice, it just levels out. Mm. 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 I love pork belly. Mm. Again, really important we didn't add salt. That soy sauce is super, super salty, okay? It's essential. Mm. The squash is such a sleepy man. Mm. Wonderful. And finish with a little fish sauce too. Mm. Excellent. Okay, gamers, guess what? I'm full. I can't eat all of this. I told you guys I can't. I can't eat all of it right now. I gotta wipe my nose. Okay. Hi. Hope you all enjoyed the stream today. Hope you all are having a lovely Wednesday. I don't know when Thanksgiving is, if it's today, tomorrow, or Friday, actually. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We're going to go ahead and see if anybody else is streaming at the moment that we can go ahead and raid. Who deserves the raid? Who deserves the Daramgar raid? Let's see. Rose is streaming. We raid Rose all the time. Should we do somebody else right now is the question. I see Salt is. Yeah, we'll just raid Rose. That's what we usually do. We'll stick to it. Everybody, hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your Wednesdays. If anybody has any final questions, comments, concerns, this is your time to voice them. Next stream is going to be Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The schedule at the moment is every single Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, unless specified otherwise. If you want to get any of the updates, of course, go into the Discord. All the streams get announced there. Or follow my Twitter if you don't already do so. Do I list my recipes? Nope, because I'm not trying to teach recipes. I'm just trying to teach technique to everybody, right? So I don't list my recipes. Okay, let's get out of here. I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. I'm a little bit tired. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time, Friday, 2 days from now, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But we do post the VODs onto the YouTube channel, so go to follow the link in the Twitch and everything. Fun stream, good looking food as well. Why, thank you. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate your presence. Goodbye, everybody.